Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, I'm good.
It's so nice to meet you, by the way.
Likewise, Adam. I'm so happy that we get to talk. I love that you're repping yellow in honor of the new EP. I'm repping yellow as well.
I love it. I
I
love
was
it.
gonna I was gonna go all yellow. I was like, I don't have a lot of bright yellow things. I'm like, okay, ball gown is a little too much. All yellow might be over the top. So let me just balance this out. But I'm so excited to chat with you. For everyone, this is Adam Leader from In Search of Sun. You are the lead vocalist and songwriter and major factor behind the whole band, but an amazing band of awesome artists. You guys are incredibly talented, and I think you guys need a lot of more spotlight here in the States. And I'm hoping that reacting to your songs, this interview is going to really make people aware of what's out there. Talk to me. How did all this start? Why are you doing what you do? What are your band members like? What inspired this?
What are they
That's a
like?
lot in one.
Oh, it's well, it kind of, I don't know. I mean, we can go way back to when my mum used to come home and put on like Bon Jovi and Queen, but that's, maybe a bit too far back. But I
That works. No, if that started it, if that inspired it, I like going back to those key moments.
that's kind of where it started. Yeah, my mum used to come home like, or she used to pick me up from school every day, take me back, and I don't know, from the age of maybe like 8 or 9, or I don't know, since as far back as I can remember, she'd always like put Bon Jovi on in the car or Queen, or like she kind of got me into Eminem, funnily enough, because like when Eminem started like coming out and whatever and getting popular, she was really into him, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But going back to the rock side of things, we would get home and like she'd put the radio on, and
Okay.
do you know the song "The Final Countdown"?
Yes.
That would always come on for, I don't know what radio station it was, but that song would always come on, and I would just stand in the kitchen and just pretend to be a rock star and whatever. So
Yeah.
I always loved the heavier side of music or whatever, and I guess that's kind of what initially turned me onto it. And then fast forward to when I started high school, like the first thing I wanted to do was start a band. So I did that with my friends, and we sucked, as you do in your first band. But and then after school, like when I finished high school, I didn't want to go to college,
Okay.
or university or anything like that. I think over in the States, it's just you go to college, right? And that's it. You don't have, do you have universities out there?
Well, I was born and raised in Germany, actually. I live in the States now. I'm Cuban and German. So in Germany, the system is very different, more European, like you're used to in the UK. In the States, though, yes, I do think a lot of people go to college. It's an interesting concept. I think more people are becoming aware that that doesn't have to be everybody's path, especially if it ends up starting your life with a lot of debt. But
Yeah.
it's a very different system. I've not been exposed to it as much as I was in the German system. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's
fair
a lot of
enough.
it's a lot of people's path, though. You are right.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's what all my friends did. But I was like, we went to like you finished school at the age of 16 here, and I didn't do that well at
Yeah.
school. Just wanted to play music and make movies, and that's all I wanted to do. And like everyone goes off to college, and I went to college for
Yeah.
3 days, and after that I was like, I just want to play music and make films. That's all I want to do. So I chose music first. Later on, I went on to make a couple of movies and stuff, and I'm doing that now as well. But I chose music first, and I tried joining different bands. I tried finding band members to start my own band, and I spent years doing that. And then eventually, I've ended up kind of meeting. So Dave, one of the
Right.
guitarists, and like our old bands like played a show together years ago, so we kind of knew each other. And I was in this local pub that we all used to go to, and I was like, "Hey man," he's like, "Hello." It's like, "How's your band going?" And I was like, "Still looking for band members." And he goes, "You do know I'm a guitarist, right?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." So he takes his phone out, and he's like, "Yeah, check out some of these riffs I've been writing." And he was listening to these little voice note riff things that he'd recorded, and I was like, "Wow, these are awesome." So we started jamming, and then fast forward a few months, we managed to find the rest of the band members, and then yeah, fast forward to Jesus, 10 years now it's been, and we're where we are today. That's kind of the short story.
I absolutely love that. So, you are on vocals, Adam. You said Dave guitar. Then we got, for those who don't know the band, y'all as much, Rory. Does he go by Rory or Rory K? Does it matter how I say it?
Just Rory or Bunny. We
He's
call
on
him
guitar.
Bunny.
Rory. Okay, okay. And he's on guitar and vocals as well, right? And
Mm.
then on bass, you got Faz, or is it Phase? How do you say his name?
Faz.
Faz. Okay. And then Sean on drums. I just wanted to, repeat that for anyone that is still learning you and your team. You guys are amazing with how tight you play together. And what I'm loving is, as I'm, learning a little bit more about your music and looking through your discography, I see a lot of growth. Okay. So, and I'm just trying to recap because, some people may not be familiar with you, but I want to get people excited to dive into your work. You had, the first thing you put out was your EP, right? Back in, what was it, 2012, a breakdown of, what was it, a breakdown of character? That was your
Wow, you
first
really you
before your
you've
albums,
really
right?
you've really been digging.
Yeah, I was, because I admired, I was fascinated by evolution sounds cheesy maybe, but yeah, that progress. I personally was perceiving a growth. So I saw the EP, then you had your album, The World Is Yours, right? 2014. Then album The Virgin Funk Mother. I got questions about that title, by the way. Very interesting title, 2017. And then now the brand new Lemon Amigos, which is out. And I'm seeing a shift there. I mean, obviously still funk metal, but I'm noticing more influences of rap. I'm noticing a growth in regards to how you guys are expressing yourself artistically. What has been, what has inspired that change? What do you think has contributed to that transition these last 10 years?
I think the main thing is probably kind of maturing in a way. Like there's a
Okay.
very like particularly in metal, I think the I guess I tread lightly when I say this. I don't want to piss anybody off, but like
This
metal
is a safe place.
Cool. But like metal fans seem to be very I don't know what the word is, like one-sided in the sense of like, or at least when I was growing up. In
Yeah.
fact, no, I see it now. It's like if a new band comes out, if a band releases songs, and like God help them if they cross over into like maybe trying something a bit poppy,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
trying to rap. It's funny you mentioned rap because I love rapping, and today I don't know when this is going out, but today, it literally there's a song coming out that I did like a guest rap section on for this band that are very like rap metal. Funny enough, it's just coincidence, but
That's
yeah, that comes out in
awesome.
a couple of hours. But I feel like the metal community is very judgmental of if it's
Mhm.
not this, it's not true metal, or you've sold out if
Mm,
something sounds popular, and it's very like it's kind of toxic and I can't stand it. But we all kind of grew up
yeah.
in that community. So when we start, but we're all like heavily influenced by like the heaviest of the heaviest bands. Like my favorite band in the whole world is a band called Pantera, and they're the whole reason I
Okay.
started playing music in the first place, and they're heavy as hell, right? But at the same
Okay.
time, I love pop music. I love R&B. I love rap. I love grime. Like it's really big over here in the UK. Like I love everything. So like, and so do the rest of the guys. Like we're all
Mhm.
heavily influenced by so many different things. So after we did the EP, a breakdown of character, which was very much super like metal core, whatever. Like then we started writing "The World Is Yours," our debut album,
Mhm.
and that it was still quite on the heavy side of the spectrum, but even in that you could hear like elements of this kind of funky poppy vibes coming through,
Uh-huh.
and we
Yeah.
thought this is cool, but we were trying to still tread very lightly because we still very much were of like, no, we have to stay metal. And then after that, or in fact even in the midst of like that album cycle and getting ready to release it, we were already writing all the stuff that you hear on the next album, Virgin Funk Mother, which is just pure like
Mhm.
the majority of it is just funky, heavy shit. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, funk
Yeah.
metal. Um,
Yeah.
and it was then after The World Is Yours came out that we were like, man, let's just write whatever comes out. And we started doing that. And
Yeah.
then the same thing happened as we moved on to, well, then, we had a few years of we did some touring, we did this and that and the other, and then COVID hit. And then it was during COVID that the whole Lemon Amigos thing came about. And that's where we really were like, we're just going to write whatever the hell comes out. And it's going to sound how it sounds. And we're just going to write it for us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where we are. I hope that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I can see a little bit of that thematic in your lyrics. Your song Say It Like You Mean It stood out to me. That one, Ariel and Lemon Amigos are currently my favorites. Those are I haven't listened to every single song you've created because there's a lot of awesome work and some I just heard snippets of. And I still want to bring those to the channel ideally. Maybe not as a first time reaction since I've heard parts of it, but just to introduce the world to them. Because oh my gosh, there's so much that happens in the songs, and I respect that highly. And I do agree with the judgment part. I think people all across the board, music, religion, politics, you name it, any single topic you find, I think a lot of times people are uncomfortable with what's uncertain and unknown. So they either get defensive or they try to box you in, or maybe they, connect you to their sense of identity if they've been listening to you for a while. So the second people change who or you change who people thought you were, right? I think it makes people uncomfortable because it's like, wait a minute, I identified with this. This is part of me. You're changing. Hold on. And so I like that you guys didn't let that hold you back from letting your creative juices flow because there's so much brilliance that comes out of it. I was amazed at how much there was to analyze in Ariel. And of course, for some, it might just be a cool song and that's it. But I feel like there were so many elements in the music video and the lyrics that could totally be dissected psychologically and in just different ways. Is that intentional? Do you guys seek to, make people think through your lyrics or even like say it like you mean it, right? Is there a message here? How do these lyrics and titles come about?
Well, particularly with like Ariel, that song is very much, that's particularly personal to me, that one. That's like, and that I
Okay.
wanted that to be at least the video to kind of reflect lyrically what's going on, the subject matter of it. And it all kind of stems around the whole abuse kind of thing and narcissism and all that horrible stuff. And sadly, there are so many people like that in this world. And
Yeah.
I had the unfortunate opportunity is the wrong word, but for want of a better word, the unfortunate opportunity of like
Yeah.
somehow gravitating towards those types of people like earlier on. And like the interesting thing about that song is that I started writing those lyrics so long ago, like
Yeah.
literally at the beginning of COVID, like 4 years ago, whatever it was. And at that time, I was, well, sorry, just before COVID, actually, like 2019. And at that time, I was coming very close to the end of an 8-year relationship with somebody. And
Wow.
she wasn't particularly nice, and it is what it is, whatever, like there's no hard feelings. But I was in the midst of writing this kind of about her, and she wasn't a nice person, and she was very gaslighting, just consistently gaslighting and manipulating and cheating and blah 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 blah. But also
So
like,
sorry.
it's okay, you live and learn. And I'm kind of glad I got to experience that because it made me learn a lot about myself, and I'm still learning a lot about myself. And that whole question of, well, why do I seem to gravitate towards those people? And it was that relationship that helped me kind of, and that relationship ending that helped me understand that someone else very close to me was like exactly the same as her. But
Wow.
the only difference is
Mhm.
that this person was a friend. And I was like, oh my God, this is mad. But so I needed that relationship to happen. I wish it didn't take 8 years, but I needed that relationship to happen
Right.
for me to kind of
Mhm.
use this other friendship as a basis for comparison and say, this person is exactly the same as her. What the hell is going on? Like, now I was kind of mind
Mm.
blown by it. And I was like, how could I have been so stupid to not see that? But when you're in something as well, you're so blind to everything
Oh yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
right?
Of
Um,
course.
so I was kind of just quietly just writing these lyrics about both of these people, as like representing those types of people, if you catch my drift. And the song
I do.
ended up being like this reflection of basically an unhealthy, toxic, somewhat abusive
Mhm.
relationship, and it kind of, I guess it's for the people out there that have been through that. And sadly, there seems to be a lot
Yeah.
of people that have been through something like that, whether it's with a friendship or a
Yes.
romantic relationship or what have you. So yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's what makes your music awesome is that there are messages there that are relatable. Where to your point, it could be for someone that has been through that or any form of toxic abuse, right? Depending on, the partner or friend's personality disorder or issue. It's nice to see. It's, I think, empowering for people to see light being shed on things that are really hard to put in words. And I think that's a beautiful thing with music. And what you guys are doing is you're giving it a voice and you're using your voice to give people a voice that may not, be able to communicate that or, are looking for ways to relate. So I think that's awesome. It was Say It Like You Mean It. What's the message there? Before I say what it's doing with me, can you tell me where that came from?
Yeah, I'm curious to know what you think actually. That song, and it was the leading single actually, the first single off of Virgin Funk Mother that we dropped, and it was
Mhm.
kind of the message behind it, or the general thought process for me behind it was like, you've only got one life, so kind of go and do it.
Mm,
We don't know what's next. We don't know what's
yeah,
beyond. I'm not a religious
yeah,
person, so I very much like kind of
yeah.
struggle with this thought of like, because I genuinely believe that when you're gone, right? I don't
Mhm.
like the fact that that's the case in my head, but like, so there's this kind of um internal struggle of like, time is never really on your side, and like it's like this is
Mm,
now, you just got to go and do what you want to do. So that's kind of where
yeah.
that message, the song, that's what it kind of revolves around. It's kind of that thought, which can be quite a intrusive and unhealthy thought.
And I can relate to that because that's kind of what I was gathering from it too. It was this call to be true to yourself. And I know that term is thrown around lightly these days, right? Oh, love yourself, be true to yourself. But I'm noticing a lot of people where there is still so much pressure from the outside. Being driven, motivated by what's happening around us is a big part of people's life. It takes so long to get over a relationship, or it takes so long to heal from something, or so much pressure of who you're supposed to be. I mean, you said it in the beginning, right? A lot of your friends going to college. This concept of who you're expected to be. And it takes a lot of work, I think, to break out of that. Like the message of a song that reminds you, you do have this one life.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then to go to the yellow, Lemon Amigos, the brand new EP that I highly recommend everybody to check out. I'm still on the journey of exploring more of it. There's so much funk in that. There's humor. To me, I'm seeing humor, but I'm seeing also a lot of heavy topics that are beautifully conveyed with humor. Musically communicated brilliantly. I mean, Sean is a beast on the drums.
Oh, he's amazing.
He
He's so good.
Oh my gosh, his time signatures are ridiculous. And then the way that you guys play the guitars, I mean, all of you, I don't want to take away from anyone in the band, right? I know bass carries a whole lot when it comes to musical compositions and Fast kills it. All of you guys on the guitar, the way you shred away, it's bonkers. You guys have a lot of dynamics, and that's really impressive. How do you keep it interesting? I know your goal is to express yourself and write and create what you want to create. But obviously, I'm sure you still want to, be successful, sell, get people to listen to it. How do you keep finding different ways to tackle a song and make it sound different than the next?
It's a really interesting question because I don't really know the answer apart from I know I don't mean this to sound like a cop out, but I genuinely feel that the more you stop caring about what others think, and the more you start just going, let's do what we want to do, man, and let's put out what we want to put out. Let's write what we want to write. Let's make this song. Okay, a lot of our songs are quite short, to be fair, but if we want to make a song 6 minutes long, let's do that. If it feels right. If a song calls for singing, then I'm going to sing. But if there's a part in there
Mhm.
where it calls for a really dirty growl, then I'll do it. Like, but not just
Yeah.
for the sake of doing it. And it's going back to that whole like feeling like we should have pigeonholed ourselves into this metal genre all those years ago, but then gradually coming out of it and going, no, but let's find our own sound. Let's just be ourselves. And I think we are quite a difficult, I mean, everyone says it's quite hard to pigeonhole us really. And maybe that's why, I don't know, maybe that's why we haven't quite pushed over that barrier, and, which I'd love to do.
Mhm.
Of course we would, but I don't know
Yeah.
what you want to call it, international, like, a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
but I feel like the more we've kind of stayed true to ourselves and let that shine through in our writing, the more
Mhm.
success and recognition we've had, even on a small scale. So
Yeah.
I think the answer to it is just just doing what feels right and going for it.
Yeah. Being genuine, I guess, authenticity. And I think we do live in a world that's hungry for that. So I'm hoping with platforms like YouTube and like just various social media programs where people get to be exposed to things they would have not otherwise because it's not, mainstream or whatever. I do hope it comes your way. Yo, it would be epic. I hope you guys come to the States.
We will, I'll say this now, like we will not stop doing this until we get over to the States. That's like
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
bucket list thing. We have to do it. And
Yes.
funnily enough, like, looking at our stats and whatever on like Spotify, it's funny because the majority of our audience are over in the States, and that we
That
have,
is funny.
yeah, we've got more
Yeah.
recognition over there, but it's weighing up that, like, it's kind of just
Yeah.
going for it and let's just get over there and do something. And it's trying to,
Yes.
the mixture of luck and hard work, I think, to try and find a band to take us out of
Yeah.
the there. And, but we'll get there. We will.
You will. I believe that. I believe that. I think you guys do have what it takes. I totally believe that. And I can't wait for it. I'm already excited now. I'm like, oh heck yeah, I want
You'll
backstage
be on the
passes.
guest list, Rosalie. Don't worry. You
Oh
won't have
hell
to
yes.
pay.
Yeah. That's sweet. That's sweet. I'm excited. I'm excited for you because I think there's a lot of awesome things in store. Tell me a bit about Lemon Amigos. Y'all are wild in that one. And I don't want to give too much away. I want people to go check it out. So anyone watching this clip, or this interview, pause if you need to, go hop over to In Search of Sun and watch and listen to Lemon Amigos. That composition too is so fun. But what in the unicorn farts are y'all doing with those lemons?
Well, I'll give you a bit of backstory on the whole idea
Okay.
behind the Lemon Amigos EP. So
Okay. Yes, please.
when COVID, so like just before COVID happened, we had like got to a point in our career where we were doing really well. We played some really big shows and everything was great. It was really cool. And we were really looking forward to the future. And then COVID happened
Mm-hmm.
and like most, I say most artists, I think most people in the world, it was quite scary, frightening, unnerving, and an uncertain time.
Yes.
No one knew what the hell was going on. I quite enjoyed a lot of the time during that because the world seemed to slow down and time seemed to go slower, which I like because I hate the fact that time moves so quick. But when it came to the band, there was this huge weight of uncertainty that was just pushing us all down like so hard. We were like, is that the end of In Search of Sun? Have we just spent all these years and
Yeah.
to lose momentum? And like, is that it? Is there a future for us? And that really sat with us for a while, to the point where we got to a point where we were like, screw this, man, let's turn a negative into a positive. So we couldn't tour, we couldn't do any shows or anything. We were like, well, what can we do? We can write music. So we started writing music, and then that was kind of where this whole Lemon Amigos concept was born, and those tracks on the EP were made during that era. And it was kind of because the title is based on the whole world and the whole time in COVID, like the world coming to a standstill and the weight of uncertainty left this huge sour taste in our mouths, right?
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, and that's when, again, like I keep coming back to it, but we were like, let's just be ourselves. Like, let's not, like, for the next phase, if we're going to continue doing this, which we had to do because we refused to give up, we were like, let's be ourselves. Let's not try and do the, we're a heavy band, let's make a serious music video and just, play our guitars in a fucking graveyard or whatever. Like, we're like, let's just be us. Like,
black makeup, tears flowing down. We're all
like,
gonna die.
Yeah, we were like, let's just be ourselves, because at the end of the day, we're just five dickheads from London, right? That just all have a very dark sense of humor. We like having a good time. We love playing music. So let the personalities come through. Let's be ourselves. So that's where we were like, right, fast forward a bit, and we're like, right, we're going to release this EP in May 2024. So we're going to release a music video for the title track, Lemon Amigos. What are we going to do for this music video? So last year we were kind of brainstorming, and I think it was Rory initially that came up with this like concept of being force fed. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, like just force fed. And then I was like, okay, what if it was like yellow stuff? Everything is yellow, and obviously we've got lemons in there. And we kind of took meaning from that, because, or we kind of, as we were talking about it and just laughing because the idea was so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
We found this meaning in it of like you're being forced, but like this Lemon character represents the time of, you know, the bad time that we were having, and everything he's feeding us is like all the negative energy and thoughts and what people are telling you, and you should give up this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. And us kind of coming out of it at the end and partying, which was so fun to shoot, by the way, was like,
I can imagine.
it was just us going, you know what, we don't care, let's let our personality shine through, let's do it. Like, and it's not really like, if you can't beat them, join them. It's more like kill them with kindness. That's kind of the message. Instead of rising to it. So that's kind of what it's about, and that's what that song encompasses, that whole time, and us going, no, we're just going to do our own thing. So it's a mixture of that meaning mixed with us going, let's just be ridiculous and have some fun.
I love it. I guess it's that idea of like, if life gives you lemons, you're just gonna have somebody shove your face in a lemon cake.
Exactly.
I like that you guys are continually with Lemon Amigos, with that what you shared about Ariel, those different tracks that are making people or encouraging people to somehow deal with those existential fears and these burdens in a healthy, in a therapeutic way.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoy them so much. It really does. It means the world, honestly, that you enjoyed, that you enjoy our stuff, and that you asked me to come on here. I just wanted to thank you again. It really does mean a lot. So thank you.
Heck yeah, it's my honor. You guys are growing and you're gonna grow fast, but something I'm trying to learn is not to dismiss small beginnings. I think it's important to, like you guys are doing, keep treading, keep doing what you're doing, and to let the fruits, to go back to the lemon thing, to let the fruits speak for themselves in due course. But I personally, and I think many people are hungering for something that's beyond that, and I think you guys really bring that. So kudos to you.
My head is just increasing.
Like lemon juice everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to go just a tiny bit deeper. We're all about, world music on our channel, psychology. So I like to just understand things a little bit. What do you think, and whatever you want to share, share as little or much as you like, what would you say, either for yourself or for you as a band, is your biggest fear?
Oh, I feel like I couldn't speak for the whole band, but I can certainly tell you personally what I feel, because and the only reason I can't speak for the whole band is because I feel like we haven't. I'd need to talk to them about it to kind of ask that, because I wouldn't know, so I'd be kind of lying, I guess, if I said. But for me, I think my biggest fear is time. That frightens the life out of me, and I have this huge battle, like it's this crippling anxiety to the point where, like, I will wake up in the morning, because I've given everything up. Like I've given what some would call a normal life up, so that I could basically put 24 hours a day, 7 days a week into music and film. That's all I do, because I've realized that life is way too short to be doing something that you don't want to do. And I would much rather burden the stress of a little bit of debt and whatever, if it means that I can do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And subsequently, things improve because of that. You can climb quicker with it. So, but time is the biggest factor that just kind of it ruins me, honestly. Like, I'll wake up in the morning, and if I wake up past 9, sometimes 10, I look at my phone and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so frustrated that I feel like I've wasted so much of the day already. I'm also very aware that I'm a night owl. Like I can't go to sleep at night. That's where I feel most creative. So I'm up until 4, 5, sometimes 6 in the morning, writing or whatever I'm doing, or recording ideas. And I'll go to sleep. I'll get maybe 4 hours, maybe 5 hours sleep. And even though I haven't got sufficient amount of sleep to kind of operate like a normal person would, I still am like, no, like you haven't done enough. Keep going. And aging, the whole aging thing, it scares me, and I think the media has a huge part to play in that, because it's like, once if you're not in your 20s anymore, that's it. You're never going to make it. You're never going to do whatever you want to do. You're too old if you're over 30. It's just all these kind of things that we're made to believe, although I certainly feel I've been made to believe over the years that play into it, and it's scary. It's really scary. And I look at it and go, like, when I was a kid, and like I went to high school for 4 years. Like over here, it's you do year 8, year 9, year 10, and 11, and then you go off to college. But like those 4 years of high school felt like an eternity, and I had a great time. It was awesome. But now that I'm an adult and I'm in my 30s, I'm like, how, like, a year feels like a week now. It's crazy. Like everything
It
goes so
is.
fast. And then I look at it and
It
go,
is.
like, I've calculated how long it's going to take until I'm like 50, and or 60 or 70. And then when you think about it, it's not that long. And then that thought gets so overbearing that I have this
Mm-hmm.
conflict of like, well, hurry up and get moving and get somewhere before you're too old to do it. So
Mm,
as long-winded
yeah.
as that was, time is the
No, no.
fear for me.
I love it was not long-winded at all. At all. I actually really appreciate your honesty about it because to me personally, I don't think that's talked about enough. I personally think that existential fears like that and death anxiety is what it sounds to me that you may be experiencing. I think more people deal with that than they realize. I think a lot of times they just maybe do it subconsciously. They don't realize that that's what's underneath it. That could be for, people that are doing crazy things that try to defy death, right? It could be for people that are heavily into religion, right? That are trying to deny death, right? Not even deal with it because, I'm going to heaven anyway. So there's, that hope. And don't get me wrong, I believe there is comfort. There can be comfort in faith. It's not as long as it's not a harmful religion or faith that now is making you hurt yourself or others. I believe can be a benefit to that, right? But not everybody has that or that draw to it. But I think a lot of people are dealing with that. And I admire your courage to talk about it. Another example, as you said, media, right? We're constantly bombarded. And I think under that too is death anxieties, right? To stay young, do this, do that, what you're supposed to look like for men and women, right? What you're supposed to wear, what you're supposed to drive, the success you're supposed to have, how much money makes you, at a threshold of success in life. I think personally that underneath that is death anxiety because we're trying to stay forever young. We're trying to grasp and hold on to something because we're constantly reminded that it's all just fleeting and fading. And you said that earlier, even with the pandemic, right? When in 2020, you guys were afraid that this was it music wise, perhaps that too ties into that, right? This fear of we're fading, that too subconsciously maybe ties into that death anxiety. Have you ever heard of the book Staring into the Sun by Dr. Irwin Yalom?
I've definitely heard that. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I've definitely heard of it.
I think you would love it. I think you would absolutely love it. If these are the things you're struggling with, kind of also works with the fact that you are in search of sun.
And
um, but that helps. I think you would really, really love it. It deals a lot with those existential things. He's a psychoanalyst, psychotherapist, and he shares about, the different people that he's, in therapy with, different cases that he worked with were constantly underneath the main issue whatever people were going through. And he would share some of these stories of these patients and how underneath it came the conclusion was that there was death anxiety in some shape or form. And he kept coming back to that because his focus is existential therapy. Do you think that you work so hard and stay up so late and chase all these things to kind of fight that quick clock of time?
yeah, that's definitely a factor in there. Or if anything, it could be just the main factor. The other thing is constantly on my mind is like make the most of life because
Yes.
you only get one life. Even or unless
Yeah.
unless you believe in reincarnation, but even still,
Yeah.
no one really
That's
knows.
all you know. No, yeah, that's what you can tangibly experience right now. Yeah. So, and I don't think
Yeah.
there's any harm in that, right? Even if you came back as a donkey next time or like a lemon or something, to keep going back to that. You'll be a lemon tree. I have a feeling. I'm just playing.
Oh,
Um,
I've got to try and maybe I'll send you a picture because it was in this room, but it's downstairs because in the garden because it's hot at the moment. But I took a lemon about a year ago, right? Because I genuinely love lemons, right? So I bought a lemon and took all the seeds out, and
uh-huh.
I thought I'm going to try and grow a lemon plant. So I planted the seeds, and then like maybe a week later, like these little green stems started coming through, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, cool. So I carried on watering this thing, and a year later, this thing is taller than me now. It's crazy. I have a lemon tree.
Oh, that is freaking awesome. That
Yeah,
is cool. That I think could be therapeutic too. You do it with your music, you did it with the lemon tree, is creating. I think that can be therapeutic too when we're dealing with that death, right? And going into the dirt and fading. You're seeing something that seemed like it was dead, like that little lemon seed actually breaking through into something that's life. And I think that can be kind of cool too. So maybe when you feel overwhelmed with that anxiety, just hug that tree a little bit or just, hold your lemon tree.
I will.
You look like she's crazy.
I'll smell it, because the great thing
There
about
you
this
go.
plant is that, and I had no idea, it was like it was an accident. If you rub the leaves, your hand smells of lemon. It's
Oh,
insane.
I love that.
It's
That's
so cool.
amazing. See,
Yeah,
that's also really good. Trying to do something that, that they talk about that being good for like mindfulness and grounding yourself, right? So like touching something, smelling it. So there you go. And you're feeling like panic or you're beating yourself up for sleeping till 9 or 10, which by the way, you're allowed to if you've been up working till 6 a.m. Maybe you got to be a little more gracious with yourself. But maybe if you're feeling panicky, then you can like, touch your lemon tree and smell and just, be present.
it
The
is
death, man.
therapeutic.
Isn't it? Yes, dude. I know that sounds so wild, but actually being present in nature or even hugging a tree is so therapeutic. I don't care what people say. It literally grounds me, pun intended.
No, honestly,
I
honestly,
get in touch with the roots.
yeah, I agree with you. Even just like I've been walking a lot more lately. I
Nice.
absolutely love, just especially at
Mm,
night, because again, I feel like the whole world just stands still and it's quiet, and
yeah.
no one's moving a million miles an hour. I just go out, like really, I'll take a little break from whatever I'm doing and I'll just walk around the block a couple of times or something, and it's just so nice. And funnily enough, the only other time I get this is when I'm driving, or if I'm like driving a long journey.
Mhm.
These thoughts, like this creativity just goes bing 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 bing. I'm like, wow, this is,
Yes.
take my phone out,
Yes.
which I try not to do, because I'm trying not to have my phone 24
Mhm.
hours a day, which is hard for most people now, I guess. But like all these ideas seem to come to me. So that's kind of my thing of like being out in nature and just going for a quiet walk and
Yes.
stuff, or driving, strangely driving. But I think it's because
Dude, I love driving.
yeah,
Yes. Give me a good road trip. Some good music. And it's just, yeah, yeah. That's the good stuff.
I just noticed. Can you see these googly eyes on the wall?
I can, and I think they're the coolest thing ever. I only saw one pair to your right on my left, and I
There's
thought that's kind of cool. There's more. That is hilarious. Those are the
that's
band members watching.
literally like that was yesterday. Samantha, she just, when I wasn't here, like I was out doing a meeting, and she was put all these googly eyes
That
everywhere.
is awesome.
Um,
She's got humor. I like it.
oh, she's the best. She's so funny. There's just going back to the concept of time thing. Like I tapped into it a little bit. There's another song that, I mean, if you've been listening to the EP, you've probably heard it, but go and watch the video if you haven't. It's called "The Fire I Play With," and that
Mm-hmm.
is like the video in particular. It's like I really wanted to get across this whole time kind of chasing you thing, but whilst you're chasing other things, or chasing whatever it
Ooh,
is you're trying to chase, which is always unobtainable because we always set the bar too high. Time is
yes.
catching up with you, and then you realize all of a sudden you're old or you're dead, and that's it, and you've kind of
Mm.
missed out on all the little things in life, and that's kind of what that video encompasses. And it was fun to shoot. Actually, it was 2 days straight, like of just running around London. It was fun, but it
That's
was
awesome.
grueling.
And I wonder sometimes if that adds to our dilemma, that dichotomy of really being able to say, I lived life to the fullest means being present to it, right? And if we're just chasing things, we're not really present to it. We're just focused on the next thing. But then ironically, of course, we can't just sit there pondering life all day and just savoring the moment because there are things to chase. There are things to do if we want to eat and have a roof over our head or, just in relationship with people, right? There's a lot of elements that require our attention and our commitment. So there's this weird dichotomy, I think, of being present, but also understanding that even the mundane is part of that. And I think sometimes we put a lot of emphasis on what we think the goal of life is, not that we've figured it out, ironically, versus actually just realizing every single moment, even this right now, right, is you're living life. And that's my wish even for myself. And you'll find that in that book that I recommended. He quotes some of these Greek philosophers and this concept of that death would find a dead man. When death comes knocking on my door, it will find a dead woman, a dead man, because I've lived my life so fully that my last heartbeat fell on the last page of my life, you know? And I
I
think,
like that.
isn't
I like that.
isn't that crazy? Okay, so what does that mean, right? What is it going to feel like my heartbeat falls on the last page? In my mind right now, I'm thinking, yeah, when my kids are grown, when I've had a long, successful marriage, when I've had a good career, when I've achieved things, right? Then my book is full. But I think that's the struggle because we can't control that, right? We can't all have those 80, 90 years. Could I still live a life that even if I die today, death will find a dead woman because I lived up to the last page. Does that make sense? How can we,
100%. 100%. Like
right?
I couldn't agree with you more. And like the whole being present thing, I think it's the most important thing. And I'm a hypocrite to say it because I'm certainly not present a lot of the time,
Yeah,
right? But it's something
me
that
too.
I so desperately want to be able to do with ease, because
Yeah,
you could look at all these milestones in your life, right? That, whether it's make a make 5 movies, make 5 albums, play this festival, international tours, whatever.
right,
But all these
right.
milestones,
Yeah,
or whether it's like this career, this job, this channel, this podcast, kids,
right.
everything is like they're just chapters. But like
Yes.
I feel like if you're not present, you're not going to really remember much of like how you get to the next chapter. You're just going to remember the chapters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I look back now and I
Yeah.
think, and this really grinds on me too. Like a lot of my 20s, because again, for want of a better word, like made wrong choices with the kind of people I surrounded myself
Mhm.
with. I don't remember much of it.
Yeah.
And that really, it really pisses me off because I wish I'd remembered it and go, man, yeah, I remember this, I remember that. The most poignant moments of my life
Mm.
were when I was in high school, and it was those 4 very short years because I was just present, having a good time, and
Yeah.
being good to others, and enjoyed people being good to me, and just being present. And that's like, it's crazy, man. Like life just happens,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's very easy to forget because we get so obsessed with, like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna we tell it's almost like we tell ourselves we're not happy or we're not fulfilled until I get this, and then you get that,
Yes.
and then you're like, well, I want this now because it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly. Isn't that weird? We think that these milestones are what life is supposed to be about. And then for some reason, it doesn't feel as amazing, or we can't get the high out of it that we were hoping, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you as an artist can relate to that. There's times where I'm sure it's wonderful to have a roaring crowd applauding you and you feel like that, everything worked out, the light, the sound, you killed the song, you have an awesome song, it was released, it was successful. There's a rush that comes from that, I'm sure, right? But are there ever moments where you kind of sing a song, or you're on stage and it's like, yeah, this was fun, but you're not in heaven, you're not experiencing complete euphoria, or do you have a constant high every moment you're doing what you wanted to do?
when I'm on stage, and I think I could speak for the rest of the boys here as well, like when we're all on stage, I think everything kind of goes away, everything negative goes away, and
Mm.
this, it's like, that's therapy for us. That's like a therapy to just be on that stage and express ourselves and do what we do. And that really is, sometimes we've had questionable shows and things don't sound great and this, that, and the other. But even still, it's kind of like we just get to go ape shit on stage and have fun for 30 minutes or
I
45
like that.
minutes or an hour, whatever it is. And it's great. But I think the contributing factor to that euphoric experience on that stage is, in fact, for me, I know this. It's literally going, wow, like we've worked so hard to get here, and it's literally remembering that journey of how much work we put in to have the. I guess it's a privilege to like actually be on a stage. Like it's incredible to just be on a stage, whether it's a huge stage or if it's a small stage in a club to you're playing to 100 people, or if you're playing to 50,000 people, it doesn't matter. It's like we've worked so hard to get here, and it's always being mindful of that journey, and that's what I always think of. And every big thing we've ever done, every big show or festival we've done, every time, like afterwards, I'll always go up to the guys and say, man, like, do you remember when we were sat in a room, like dreaming about doing something like this and putting all the work in? And they're all like, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's, yeah, the journey is the most important thing.
Isn't that cool how, you wouldn't experience that moment on stage, perhaps you wouldn't experience it as severely as you do because of the work you put in, right? If you were just projected onto the stage immediately without that hard time in 2020, without the doubt, without the darkness, I wonder if we would experience life differently if we didn't have that struggle. And I know that's so cliche, right? Oh, we enjoy the light because of the dark, and we appreciate the sun because of the rain and whatever. But there's truth behind it, right? Everything in life is really that duality. You wouldn't be able to truly savor the fruit of your labor, again, to go back to the lemon thing, if you didn't actually have to labor for it, right?
Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more.
It's cool to hear you say how you find so much joy on when you're on stage. I do wonder if that also ties in with our existential fears, because in that moment you're not fading. In that moment you exist because other people see you. You exist in the mind of another, and you exist by creating something. You're literally projecting something of your being, not just your voice, right? Which, by the way, you have a freaking epic voice.
Thank
Sheesh.
you.
Oh my gosh. There's so, sorry, I'm a sidetrack just for a second because, again, I need all the listeners just to hop over to your YouTube channel, go check out In Search of Sun, look up a song, pick anything ultimately, but ideally the latest maybe, and then work your way back. However you like, listen to their music and watch what he does with his voice. Adam, you're what is the word? The dynamics of when you start sometimes that breathiness and the growl, and I'm side checking. I'll get back on my point. I don't want to forget this though. To then the way that your vocal box opens up to then you bring in that growl. Oh my gosh. And Ariel, when you skip to that second verse and you just showcased how much you can really do, dude. Ah,
Oh, Rosalie, you're
really?
too kind.
No, 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 no. I'm genuine. I mean it. Okay. When I get suggestions or people bring music to me, there's always that risk of I'm gonna like it, I'm not. You know what I mean? With y'all's video, it was so fun because I'm like, oh, thank God, it's getting better and better. There's such stuff to talk about. There's stuff to enjoy. Really, really awesome talent, and I'm proud of you that you're using it. But to get back to the point, on that moment when you're on stage, you're existing literally in your own world because you're doing something you love. You're doing something that feel you were created to do, designed to do. And you're existing in the minds of others, right? They're perceiving you, they're listening to you, they're jamming out with you. I wonder if that's therapeutic in our existential crises in life too, because those are those peak moments of our existence, right? When you're actually seen and known. And it makes me think of what I like telling people a lot of times is that we were created to create, meaning whenever you put yourself out into the world, you're doing something of value. And maybe that helps with those death anxieties because you're now leaving a legacy, right? Because people will still hear your music even when you're gone, right? You're able to continue living on, if you will, through your music and in the memories of others. You will still be able to bring people joy and comfort, even when it's your time to walk through that door. Maybe there's therapy in remembering that you're constantly creating, not just when you're on stage, but every moment you're creating thoughts right now, right? When you speak, you're creating words. And honestly, Adam, just to encourage you, even when it's your time to go, regardless of what happens after, you will still be creating, because when our bodies go back to the ground, and to be blunt, we fertilize the ground, maybe a beautiful lemon tree will grow from that space. There
I'm
will
gonna, I'm gonna,
constantly be.
I'm gonna take seeds, lemon seeds with me. When I know that the day I'm gonna
Yes,
die, I'm just gonna fill my pockets with lemon seeds.
that's gonna make me cry. But yes, that's beautiful. I'm over here like crying over lemon seeds. I'm gonna go before you. But yeah, um, that's beautiful. You're gonna constantly be creating. You constantly are creating. And I think there's something therapeutic about that.
I love that, and I think especially with like creating music or whatever, like something physical that you can put out into the world. It's like
Yes.
an element of whether you become the next biggest band or you're not, like you are leaving a stamp on the world, and there's an element of
Yes.
timelessness to your existence,
Yes.
like, and
Yes.
I love that, and I definitely think that's something
Yeah.
that's important to me. It's just, no matter how many more albums or songs we create moving forward, like there's a stamp that we
Yes.
left on the world, and
You did. Yeah.
it's important. It's always there. Someone will look at that one day
Yes.
and go, "Wow,
Yes.
those guys, like in 100 years or in 1,000 years, hopefully the internet
Yes.
world hasn't imploded, but like people look back and go
I
like,
love it.
wow, these dudes existed then. This is cool," and they
Yeah.
might find solace in that.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, if that's the right word, I kind of had this thought a few minutes ago, but and I thought like maybe another element of performing is, or why I personally get so much enjoyment out of performing is there may be, even if it's just one person in that crowd that like falls in love with the show or just has such an amazing night that night or discovers their new favorite band. It's like there's that possibility that you may have created like a milestone or a chapter, if you will, in someone's life, or in 20 years they'll look back and go, how great was life, you know, this happened, that happened, we discovered this band. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like creating something that
Yes.
I certainly
Yeah.
feel that I've kind of missed a lot of in my 20s because I was so focused on,
Hmm.
you know, just moving forward and not being present. So I think
Yeah.
that's definitely an element to that.
I love that. I think this whole thing with the whole, the 20s and how that went so fast. I wonder if that's a lot of people's experience. I'd be curious, and
Probably.
I hope people, I'd love to hear, and even in the comments, anyone watching, let us know if you guys have experienced that, because I can 100% resonate with that. That as a kid or a young adult felt more fairly immortal. Time was going fairly slow, had all the world in front of me. And the older I get, the faster it goes. But also there's sometimes this frustration with regret of the time you can't get back because we didn't know what we didn't know, right? When you're 20 and in your, teens, it's like, people don't think about, oh, save your life and be present. Like, honestly, we could tell kids that today, be like, listen, do better than what I did. Be present. They'll still be like, yeah, right, mom. I mean, for some reason, people have to mature to that place on their own.
It's funny being of the age now where you can literally look at like a kid and go, you're having the time of your life now. You don't even know it. Like
Yes.
a couple of
You have
years ago,
no idea. Yeah.
it's crazy. I
Yeah.
had a short stint of a job in teaching music in loads of different schools, like a couple of years back. And I mean, it was kind of fun, but it was kind of not because it was really hard. It was like it was. Have you seen School of Rock?
Parts of it. I don't think I've ever seen the full thing.
Okay, so like the job that I had was essentially like Jack Black. You know, you would go in and you would
Okay.
like teach kids how to play their instruments and how to play in a band together, right? And as hard as the job was, I remember being in there just like amongst the kids just going, you have no idea that one day you're going to look back at these times and go, wow, they were the best times of my life. But
I
you
know, right?
just, it was a really weird thought. And I had that thought almost every day, just because they reminded me of me, what I was like in school, like just naughty and having fun
Yeah.
and stuff, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Oh man, it's true, right? It's almost frustrating because you want to tell them so that they can do better. It's almost like, okay, maybe I can live vicariously through this next generation if they do it better for me, But the irony is that they're not gonna, like I said, they're not gonna necessarily have, some kids maybe, but most of the time they're not gonna have that maturity to, yeah, to understand. We are human beings. That's a present progressive word, right? I just heard that on a book the other day, an audiobook. It was talking about we're going to keep doing what we're going to keep doing while our soul is going to keep being. It's like this constant state. And now this book, had the theory of our soul is eternal and such. But the theory was your soul is going to keep being what it is while we're doing what we think we should be doing. And in the meantime, our soul just keeps being because that's all it knows to do. You're existing. Every moment and every, you know, millisecond of you breathing, you are creating something, you're being, and that's beautiful. Maybe, and that maybe too, again, my way of trying to deal with countering time and that dilemma, but maybe time is not against us. Maybe there's, we are, and it's okay. And we're going to be safe, even when our bodies, go to the ground to nurture lemon trees.
It kind of just the saying, it is what it is, comes to mind. And
Mm,
I just thought when you were saying that, I really like that, by the way. But when you were saying that, I had like an image in my head of imagine like there's like one per imagine you, right? But there's an image of you, but then next to you, and you're really stressed and you're trying to do all these things and stuff, and then next to you is another version of you. They're slightly faded. It's the soul, and the soul's just kind of laughing at you, and just going, "What are you doing? Chill out." It's like the soul.
wow.
I just had that image in my head. If that even makes
Yo,
sense.
Adam, it does. And I like that a lot. Yeah, that kind of goes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's like your soul is being sitting there just being, like I just am. And over here, the rest of me is going, oh my gosh, and I got to do this and I got to do that. Um,
It's like sitting there, just smoking a cigar, going, dude.
Yes, I like that, especially the cigar part. Cigar in one hand, nice wine or something nice in my other, and just be like, dude, Rosalie, what's going on? I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. See, those are these moments that make life so precious. You know, Adam, and I'm so grateful. I tell people this often, even in interviews. Time is our most precious commodity, our most precious, I don't know, asset, commodity, whatever you want to call it. And every time people talk to me on these interviews, I'm humbled by that because you shared part of that with me. And I want to emphasize that even in this interview. Thank you that you are spending your most precious commodity, asset, whatever the word is, which is time, with me today, and talking about what you guys do as a band and who you are as a person. That's precious. That's time that you spent today on this show that I hope sows seeds for a lot of people to be inspired to learn from you, to learn from what you guys do as a band, to listen to your music, because there's so much more substance, and I love that about you guys.
Well, thank you for creating the opportunity for me to spend my time with you. It really does mean the world. So thank you.
I have one last question, and then I'm gonna let you go. What would you have written, since we're talking about time and death? We're totally like on death today. Super, but it's not in a morbid way. That's what I love. Like we're talking so deeply about death, and it's like super refreshing.
It is
There's so
actually.
much, there's so much life in our conversation about death.
I know,
Um,
right?
what would you want to have written on your, is it epitaph? Is that the right word for it? Like your tombstone, basically? The
Oh,
German wants to come out, be like Grabstein, in the tombstone.
ooh, what would I want written on my
Yeah.
tombstone?
What do you want your
Um,
legacy to be? What do you want written?
Dickhead. No, not really. Do you know what? I don't know. So it would actually maybe that it'd be something kind of silly and tongue in cheek. I think. That doesn't answer the question. Now that's a cop out. I need to think of something.
Ooh, ooh, talk about self-awareness, my friend. You're like, never mind. Let me go deeper. Okay, cool. I respect that. Yeah, take your time. There's no rush. I know that's like a hard one. It's like, hey, last question. Let's keep it
it's
light, not.
it's really hard. It's really hard. I
Mhm.
don't know. Oh no, it's a cop out. Something I was gonna say. So it's really cheesy. Time's worst enemy. That sucks more than my vacuum cleaner. Like it, that just sucks. Like, do you know what? I don't think I can answer it. It's something that I've
That's okay.
really never thought about. So I don't
Mm.
know. What would you have on yours?
Ooh, you caught me off guard there. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be asking the questions. Honestly, honestly, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. Maybe something along the lines of what I said earlier, like death found a dead woman, or like, my last heartbeat fell on my last page. Um, Something like that. I don't know. That sounds maybe a little too, romanticizing it all. And maybe that's my cop out, right? Maybe that's my way of trying to deal with my death anxieties, is saying something poetically deep, right? Finding comfort in the, I don't know, or like, I'm out. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
Like,
dark down
deuces.
here.
I know, like, excuse me, turn the lights back on. Um, I
Oh, I
don't
thought of
know.
something. I thought of
Yeah.
something. Maybe I'll have always, like finally present, because I'm always there. There's nowhere else I can go, so I'm always there. Finally present.
Yo, that is deep and hilarious at the same time. What is going to make you feel like you lived life to the fullest and death caught you on your last page anyways, Didn't take anything from you because you already lived it.
Always staying true to myself, doing what I love doing, and being present. But I'm still trying to find a way to just be present, and I guess that's kind of trying to be a little bit more laid back, or learning how to be laid back whilst you're still working hard and doing whatever you need to
Yeah.
be doing.
What's next for you and the guys?
So we have
What's
got
next?
our so the our debut album, The World Is Yours, turns 10 this year, and
Congratulations.
thank you. And in October, we are doing like a one-off kind of headline show. It'll be the biggest headline show we've done yet, actually. So it's a venue in London called the Underworld, which we've played before, but like supported other bands. This is the first time we're going to headline that venue. But we're basically playing
Oh,
our first album from start to finish. So that's going to be good fun. That's in October, and then a couple of potential tours next year. The big highlight, the big thing we're working towards is album number 3. We're in the midst of writing that now, and we're looking to release that sometime towards the latter part of next year. But another headline
That's
tour. I can't wait. Loads of lemons.
heck yeah. Yes, lemons everywhere. Just
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh man, that's exciting. I really hope, like I said in the beginning, just to tie it full circle, that your journey and success just blows up, that you guys end up in the States for sure. People really just continue to see how amazing you are musically, lyrically, just so much talent. But I really appreciate you, Adam, and I wish you peace as you keep creating music and everyday moments. Keep just planting lemon trees.
Likewise. Thank you, Rosie. I really appreciate it. And this has been great.
Oh man, I'm honored. I had a blast chatting with you. Everyone, go make sure to check out In Search of Sun on YouTube, subscribe to their channel, listen to their music, check out the new EP, have a lemon or a lemonade or whatever you want while you're watching it. It's freaking awesome. Don't miss it. Thank you for your time today, Adam.
In Search of Sun. Check us out.
Ayo.